everyone, it's Wacky Animative here to present you with What If Deku Had the SCP Quirk Part 3. Let's go ahead and get into it. Currently, Azuki Midoriya is in Deba Beach, picking up scraps of metal and trash, and escorting it out of the premises, specifically so that he can go take it towards a dump or somewhere. After all, he doesn't want this beach being contaminated more than it already is. After all, if he's going to become a hero, he can't just do very big deeds. He can't just start saving people. He has to start off somewhere, he realizes. After all, his conversation with Mr. Deeds, or aka SCP-662, he realized he needed to focus more on his physical strength. So he started lifting up bigger scraps of metal each and every moment that he had, and putting it directly onto the truck, before it getting towed off and the garbage being disposed of. Continuously did this for months on end, for about 7 of the 10 months until the UA entrance exam. And while Izuku was always doing push-ups, the SCP-999, aka the Tickle Monster, would always be on his back, doing karate moves, while having a headband that waves in the wind, and also doing cute girls, as if doing serious training, which always made Izuku burst out laughing. Izuku and the Tickle Monster have gotten quite close. After all, Izuku, the Tickle Monster's Mr. Deeds, and a specific Rolling Eyeball have gotten quite close. Rolling Eyeball was a new one. Apparently, it's very, very friendly, but it can also sense danger and also moves very fast where there's no brakes, which caused quite a few wrecks, in opinion. As POV change, flashback. Currently, Azuki Midoriya has just woken up, immediately a few days after his talk with Bakugo, and how Bakugo told him if he wanted a better quirk to just jump off the school roof, and hope for one in your next life, which honestly was quite messed up. And Izuku hasn't fully recovered from it. The Tickle Monster has always been right beside him, cheering him up, but this is one of the rare times where the Tickle Monster isn't there. The Tickle Monster went with Inko to go shopping for who knows that whatever. POV change. Currently, Inko is going shopping with the Tickle Monster. The Tickle Monster is right beside her and is looking at the cookie aisle, while Inko just looks at the Tickle Monster, waves her finger in front of him, and in front of the Tickle Monster, and says no, while it looks at the cookie aisle again, and just does a few steps towards it, while Inko says no a little bit louder, and then it just disappears, and he just has like a billion things of cookies right in its hands, and places it into the cart, while Inko screams out no, and it uses its fierce tactics of slimy eyes. And it sounds a lot more disgusting than it actually is. It's actually very adorable. Like, its eyes are like puppy dog eyes. And it just stares at him and has a lollipop in its hand. And immediately Inko just says, you know what? Fine. You can go ahead and get some cookies, but you can't get this much. Immediately the slime nods and goes back for more, thinking that she meant to get more. Immediately she regretted taking the slime with her today. Like, really regret taking out your pet slime. POV change. Izuku's currently in his little depression as he gets up out of bed, gets changed, and is about to head down the stairs and make some food. After all, it's only Saturday, doesn't have to go to school. Might as well lay around on the couch. Right when he walked down the stairs, he sees a rolling eyeball heading straight towards him. Immediately, he thought about what he should do. And then a little mini screen in his head, since he's still a kid pretty much, his head appeared. It said, 1, run, 2, kick it, 3, jump in the opposite direction. Immediately, he just looked at it and just stood there. And it just rolled between his leg and started swirling around him. Immediately, Izuku was curious and started to actually pet the eyeball, which it was quite friendly, actually. It started to actually like his interaction. So they started hanging out a little bit, and he realized they can't stop. After all, when Inko finally got home, right when Inko opened the door, the first thing that happened was the rolling the rolling eyeball was wanting to meet new people. It started rolling towards Inko, but accidentally crashed course directly into the tickle monster, causing a huge crash collision, which Izuku found very hilarious. And Inko was just confused, and so was the tickle monster, as it had an eyeball creature inside of it for a few seconds before it rolled out. Izuku explained that this is probably another one of his summons. After a few weeks of researching it, he found out that they attach to people that give an affection very quickly. Also, it rolls around your foot or leg to tell you if there's danger nearby. Alright, end of flashback. Sorry if it was a long flashback, though. But anyway, Izuku is currently continuously doing his endless training routine until all of a sudden, after 7 months of training, immediately he summons out Mr. Deed again by literally summoning the bell in his hand and ringing it. Right when he rings it, Mr. Deeds appears in front of him with a sandwich, which Izuku promptly eats before splitting half of it with his two little buds. The iPod, as he calls it, and the tickle monster. He immediately gives both of them a little half of his sandwich, and they immediately start staring at each other. Just an all-out war happens as the tickle monster tries to eat the sandwich, and the rolling iPod tries to take the other part of the sandwich. They really, really like Mr. Deed's sandwiches, so they're fighting for it. Like, you can see like this huge action scene of the tickle monster literally just staring at the iPod and just saying, "It's over. I have the sandwich," while the iPod just stares back and says, "No, I do," as it's trying to roll towards him at high speeds to grab it. And while that's happening, Izuku just sees the iPod just rolling into the tickle monster, trying to grab the sandwich, as the tickle monster just waves its hand a little bit above the iPod, since it's a little bit tall, a little bit bigger than the iPod, just making it to where you can't reach it, Candy. Gotta be quicker than that, is what it does while moving it away. Izuku laughs at this, so does Mr. Deeds. And Izuku looks at Mr. Deeds and asks, "So, what do you think we should do for this part of my training?" Mr. Deeds ends up saying, "For what I think you should do now is try to summon something different from us. After all, I know that you're able to summon more than just us. Like the thing you summoned with Bakugo when you got really mad. You need to use other emotions when you're thinking about summoning something. But keep a clear head. Don't let your emotions control you. Why don't you try?" As Izuku, who's currently in Deba Beach, tries to think about what to summon, all of a sudden, images start flowing into his head about various different creatures. Creatures that are beyond anything he's seen, anything humanity has seen. Oh god, how terrifying some of them are. As Izuku's brain feels like it's overloading from the amount of information he's receiving. As Mr. Deeds is about to stop him, he ends up coming across something of an unimaginable rage. Something very furious. Something uncontrollable. Something unkillable. It's in the form of a giant lizard. Or skeletal lizard creature. It's a terrifying force of nature. It's an abomination, and it's unkillable. Izuku immediately tries to open his eyes and get away from the images that are flowing into his head. As soon as he does, he accidentally summons the creature, because when he was viewing through how the creature acted and how it was experimented on for quite a bit, immediately he started thinking about how Bakugo kept on beating him. So it appeared out. As Izuku opened his eyes, he sees this giant, destructive lizard in front of him. It was very, very huge that it took up a good portion of Deba Beach just for it to appear. It was literally crawling all over the trash and everything, staring around for something to destroy. It was ripping literal refrigerators in pieces. It was looking around for something it could literally tear into, until its eyes gazed at Mr. Deeds and Izuku, which Izuku was completely terrified in fear. Before trying to calm his mind down, remembering what Mr. Deeds said, not to be too angry, try to keep a level head. So he tries to keep a level head as the creature walks towards him closer and closer. opening its mouth a little bit, and its very long, thick, girthy tongue comes out, and it appears closer towards Midoriya, scaring him a little bit, but he tries to keep calm, as the creature starts to speak a little bit, and it says, "Who are you, human?" Izuku immediately flinches a little bit, while Mr. Deeds ends up thinking in his mind, "It can talk!" While a few, while the literal iPod is just circling around Izuku's leg frantically, trying to warn him about the dangers, and the tickle monster is right beside Izuku, as if trying to protect him. As Izuku looks towards it and says, "I don't know, but I summoned you. I just want to be a hero. That's all I want to be. I would like to ask for your help for this, though." As he asks the overgrown reptile that just literally feels out a horrifying aura of dread all around it, as it stares into Izuku's soul and immediately says, "You know, you're very lucky right now." As Izuku wonders what he means. As Izuku wonders this, immediately the creature says, "You're lucky you haven't let go of any of your emotions. If you would have used too much anger when you summoned me, I would have been able to lash out. I would have destroyed everything around you and everyone, and probably have killed you. After all, the more emotions you put into your summon, the stronger they are, and the more uncontrollable they are. I really want to destroy everything around, but I can't do anything without your orders, for now," the lizard says, before disappearing, and Izuku falling to the ground, feeling as if an unimaginable amount of weight has been taken off of his back from just merely speaking to the overgrown lizard that he saw. Showed him such terror. The worst part is when he was through the creature's mind, as if he gets information from the creatures that he summons, depending on how high his emotional levels are. As this is happening, and Izuku is still absorbed into his